Amara's hand shot out in the darkness, fumbling for her phone. 2:13 a.m. The screen burned her eyes as an unknown number flashed across it. Her finger hovered over the decline button, then something made her answer. "Don't go to the river tomorrow." The voice on the other end made her blood stop. 3 years. She'd spent 3 years trying to forget that voice, and now it was speaking to her through a phone that shouldn't be ringing. "Who is this?" she whispered into the dark. The line went dead. Amara sat up in bed, her chest heaving. The call log showed nothing. No incoming call. No number. Just the empty screen mocking her in the darkness. But she'd heard him. She knew that voice better than her own. It was Chidi. Her husband. The man she'd buried 3 years ago after he drowned at Onitsha River during the rainy season. She pulled up her voice memo app with shaking fingers. She hadn't been recording. There was no proof. Nothing but the racing of her heart and the cold sweat soaking through her wrapper. Sleep didn't come back that night. By morning, Amara had almost convinced herself it was a dream. Grief did strange things. The Dibia had warned her about this, about the spirit world reaching out when the grief was still fresh. She made Gary, got dressed for the market, and tried to pretend the world made sense again. But when she reached for her purse to go sell her fabrics, her hand froze. "Don't go to the river tomorrow." She stayed home instead, hating herself for it, hating the small voice in her head that wondered what if. 2 nights later, her phone rang again. Same time. Same unknown number. This time, Amara hit record before she answered. "Hello? Amara, please." His voice cracked with something that sounded like desperation. "Don't go near the river. Not tomorrow. Not ever again." "Chidi?" Her voice broke on his name. "My husband, is that really you? How is this possible? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Through the phone, she heard him crying. Actually crying. The sound tore through her chest like broken glass. Then static flooded the line, and the call ended. Her hands trembled as she played the recording back. Every word was there. Clear as daylight. His voice, his breathing, the static, even the sound of his tears. She sent it to Nkechi, her younger sister, the only person who might understand without thinking she'd gone mad. Nkechi called back in minutes. "Sister Amara, I don't know what to say. That sounds exactly like Brother Chidi. But it can't be. You know it can't be." "I know," Amara whispered. "But Nkechi, what if it is? What if his spirit is trying to tell me something?" "Then we need to consult the Dibia again," Nkechi said quietly. "But please, be careful. Whatever this is, it's not natural." After they hung up, Amara walked through her flat, and that's when she noticed it. Everything felt wrong. Her late mother's portrait on the wall was facing a different direction. She was sure of it. The wrapper she'd hung by the window had shifted. And on her bedside table sat a framed photo she'd never seen before. It showed her and Chidi at Ikagosi Warm Springs, but she was wearing coral beads she'd never owned. Chidi had a tribal mark on his left cheek that hadn't existed in real life. She grabbed her phone, scrolling frantically through every photo from that trip. The picture on her nightstand wasn't there. It didn't exist in her gallery. But it existed on her nightstand, in a frame she'd never bought. Amara's breathing quickened. She ran to her bedroom mirror and stared at her reflection. Something was different. The lines around her eyes seemed deeper. Her hair was in box braids when she'd worn it natural yesterday. Wasn't it? She couldn't remember anymore. The calls came every night after that. Always at 2:13. Always the same desperate warnings. "Stay away from the river, Amara. Don't go near the water at night. Please. You have to listen to me this time." But with each call, his voice grew fainter. More distant. Like he was calling from further and further away. And her world kept shifting. Her customers at the market mentioned fabrics she had no memory of selling them. The Mallam who sold her Accra called her by a different name. Even her own handwriting in her prayer book looked unfamiliar. On the seventh night, when her phone rang at 2:13, Amara answered with tears already streaming down her face. "Chidi, please. I don't understand what's happening to me. Help me." But the voice that answered wasn't his. "Amara," the woman said softly. "We need to talk." Amara's phone slipped from her hand, clattering onto the terrazzo floor. She snatched it back up. "Who are you?" "I'm you," the voice replied. "I'm the version of you that didn't listen. The one who kept going to the river. The one who went into the water." "That's impossible. That's madness." "Is it?" The woman's voice was patient but urgent. "Look around you. Really look. Does anything feel real anymore? Does your life feel like your own?" Amara's eyes darted around her flat. The walls seemed to pulse slightly, like they were breathing. Shadows moved in corners where there shouldn't be shadows. She could smell something faint, like river water and mud. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. "You're caught," the woman said. "Caught in the moment before everything changed. You've been here before, Amara. Hundreds of times. You keep getting the calls. You keep ignoring them. And every time you do, another version of you vanishes. Another timeline collapses. I don't understand. Chidi drowned 3 years ago. I wasn't even there." "Yes, you were." The voice hardened. "That's what you need to remember. That's what you keep forgetting. You were there, Amara. You were at that river." Static crackled through the line. Beneath it, Amara heard new sounds. Thunder rumbling. Water rushing violently. Someone shouting in Igbo. The splash of something heavy hitting water. And underneath it all, someone screaming. Was that her voice? "No," Amara breathed. "No, I was at home cooking. Chidi went to check his fish traps alone, and he never came back." "You're lying to yourself," the woman interrupted, and now her voice was pleading. "I know because I did the same thing. I convinced myself I wasn't there. That I didn't see it happen. But Amara, listen to me. I can't keep calling anymore. This is my last chance. If you don't face what really happened, you'll be stuck here forever. And I'll disappear completely." "Face what?" Amara shouted into the phone. "What am I supposed to remember?" "Go to the river. Tonight. Go to Onitsha River and I'll show you." The line went dead. Amara stood frozen in her flat, phone clutched in both hands. Around her, the walls flickered like a faulty NEPA light. She could hear whispers now. Dozens of voices. Maybe hundreds. All speaking at once in Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Pidgin. All saying the same thing. Remember. 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 Her wrapper and head tie were on before she'd even made the decision. She had to go. She had to know. The streets of Lagos were empty as she drove through the city at 3 in the morning. Rain began to fall, light at first, then heavier. By the time Onitsha River came into view, water was sheeting across her windshield. Her wipers struggled to keep up. Amara pulled over near the bank, right near the spot where they'd found Chidi's body. Her hands shook as she turned off the engine. The rain pounded on the roof like drums at a funeral. Her phone rang immediately. Unknown number. But she knew who it would be. She answered, stepping out into the rain. "I'm here," she said. "Now tell me the truth." For a long moment, there was only silence and the sound of rain hitting the river. Then Chidi's voice came through, soft and broken. "I'm glad you came. I've been waiting so long for you to be ready." "Ready for what?" Tears mixed with rain on her face. "To remember what really happened that night. To remember why you keep calling yourself. Why you keep trying to warn yourself. I don't understand. You didn't stay home that night, Amara. You followed me to the river. You were worried about me going alone in the storm. You were calling my name from the bank, begging me to come back. And you didn't see the current until it was too late. Amara's knees buckled. She grabbed a palm tree to stay upright. I was checking the traps, Chidi continued, his voice cracking. I heard you scream. I saw you fall into the water. I jumped in to save you. I grabbed you. I pushed you toward the bank. And that's when the river took me instead. No, she sobbed. No, that's not what happened. We both drowned that night, Amara. But you couldn't accept it. So you rewrote the story. You made yourself the survivor. You made me the one who died alone. You've been trapped in that lie for 3 years, calling yourself over and over, trying to prevent what already happened. Lightning split the sky. In its flash, Amara saw something that made her scream. Standing along the riverbank were dozens of women. All of them looked exactly like her. All of them wore the same wrapper and head tie. All of them were holding phones to their ears. All of them were crying. What is this? She screamed into the phone. Every version of you that's tried to change it. Every timeline where you answered the call. Every Amara who came to the river hoping to fix what can't be fixed. The rain stopped. Just stopped, mid-fall, droplets hanging suspended in the air like the world had been paused. Amara turned in a slow circle. The river, the rain, the other versions of herself, all frozen like a photograph. Only she could move. Only she and the voice on the phone. Where am I? She whispered. In between, Chidi said. In the space between what happened and what you wish had happened. You've been here the whole time, Amara. 3 years, replaying the same night over and over, trying to find the version where we both survive. That's not possible. I've been living my life. I went to the market. I saw Nkechi. I moved to a new flat in Surulere. Did you? His voice was gentle now. Or did you just remember doing those things? Think about it. Really think. When was the last time you ate jollof rice? When was the last time you felt the sun on your skin? When was the last time anything happened that didn't involve those phone calls? Amara's mind raced backward. She tried to remember yesterday. Last week. Last month. But every memory felt thin, like smoke, like she was remembering a Nollywood film instead of her own life. And every clear memory she had circled back to the same thing. The phone ringing. The warnings. The river. Chai, she breathed. Oh God, it's all been in my head. Not in your head, Chidi corrected. In the moment. The split second before the water filled your lungs. Your spirit shattered across infinite possibilities, each one trying to find the way out. The way to save us both. Then how are you here? How are you talking to me? Because I shattered too, he said softly. My last thought was of you. Of trying to save you. Of wishing I could go back and stop you from following me to that river. So part of me stayed, echoing through all your attempts to rewrite what happened. I've been the voice on the phone, Amara. Every call. Every warning. It's always been me, trying to help you let go. The frozen rain began to glow, each droplet becoming a tiny point of light like fireflies. They illuminated the other Amaras standing on the riverbank. Some wore traditional attire. Some wore modern clothes. Some looked completely different, like they'd lived entirely separate lives in different parts of Nigeria. What happens to them if I let go? Amara asked. They're already gone, Chidi said. They're just echoes now. Possibilities that collapsed when you chose different paths. There's only one real you left, Amara. The one standing by the river right now. The one who's finally ready to face the truth. Amara looked down at her phone. The screen showed a single message in Igbo, Kwụsị oku, end this call. What happens when I end it? Her voice was barely audible. You move on, Chidi said. We both do. No more loops. No more phone calls at 2:13. No more trying to fix what's broken. Just peace. We go to where our ancestors are waiting. Will I forget you? No. His voice was warm now, like palm wine in the evening. You'll remember me exactly as I was. The good parts and the bad parts. The real parts. Not this haunted version you've been carrying. You'll remember our wedding at the village. You'll remember how I used to burn the stew. You'll remember everything that mattered. I'm scared, she admitted. I'm so scared of losing you again. You're not losing me, my wife. You're letting me go. There's a difference. I'll always be part of you. But you need to stop living in the moment we died and start accepting that we did die. Both of us. Then why does this feel so real? Why can I smell the river? Why can I hear your voice? Because the spirit is powerful, Chidi said. Because love transcends death. Because the human soul will build entire worlds to avoid facing unbearable pain. You built this place, Amara. This river. These calls. All of it. You've been calling yourself for 3 years, using my voice, desperately trying to warn yourself. But there's no version of that night where we both survive. There never was. Tears poured down Amara's face. I miss you so much. I know. I miss you too. But it's time to stop missing me in this broken way. It's time to let the missing be clean. Sad, but clean. No more spirits wandering. No more loops. Our families need to rest. You need to rest. What if I can't do it? What if I hang up and I'm still here? You won't be, he promised. The moment you end this call, the moment you truly accept what happened, you'll move on. And Amara? I'll be there. Not here in this in-between place. But in the ancestral realm. With my father and your mother and all those who've gone before. I'll be waiting for you. Not today, not tomorrow. But when it's really your time, when you've lived a full life, I'll be there. Amara looked at the other versions of herself along the riverbank. They were fading now, becoming transparent like morning mist. The rain droplets were falling again, but slower, like the world was winding down. I don't know how to say goodbye to you, she sobbed. You don't have to say goodbye, Chidi said. Just say thank you. Thank you for the time we had. Thank you for loving me. And then let me thank you for the same thing. That's enough, Amara. That's more than enough. She closed her eyes and saw him. Not bloated and lifeless from the river. Just him. Smiling at her across the table at Mama's buka. Laughing when she teased him about his driving. Sleeping peacefully on a Sunday afternoon after church. All the quiet, ordinary moments that made up a life together. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for everything, my husband. Thank you, my wife, he whispered back. Now press end. It's time to join our people. Amara opened her eyes. Her finger hovered over the screen. The river was almost gone now. The other Amaras had vanished completely. Even the rain was fading, turning to mist. She pressed end. The world went white. Pure, blank white. And then, slowly, color began to bleed back in. But it was different this time. Warmer. Softer. Real. Amara opened her eyes to harsh hospital lights and the steady beep of monitors. Her body felt heavy, like she was wrapped in wet cloth. A doctor stood over her, eyes wide with surprise. A woman doctor with kind eyes. Welcome back, the doctor said in accented English. You've been in a coma for 3 years. Amara tried to speak but her throat was too dry. The doctor held up a hand. Don't try to talk yet. You were in a serious accident. You nearly drowned at Onitsha River trying to save your husband. You were without oxygen for several minutes. We managed to resuscitate you, but you never woke up. Until now. Chidi? Amara managed to croak out. The doctor's expression softened. I'm so sorry. He didn't make it. The fisherman said he pushed you toward the bank before the current took him. He saved your life. Fresh tears spilled down Amara's cheeks, but these were different. These were real. Clean. The tears of genuine grief, not the recursive spiral of trying to undo the past. He's a hero, the doctor continued. If he hadn't pushed you to safety, you both would have been lost. The fisherman pulled you out minutes later. Amara nodded slowly. She looked around the hospital room and saw flowers, get-well cards in English and Igbo, evidence of a life that had continued while she'd been trapped in that frozen moment by the river. Nkechi was asleep in a chair in the corner, her face lined with exhaustion. Her head tie was askew. How many nights had she spent here? How many people had visited, praying she'd wake up? The doctor checked her vitals, asked her simple questions in Igbo to test her memory, then left to get the neurologist. Nkechi woke up when the door closed. For a moment, she just stared at Amara. Then she burst into tears and rushed to the bedside. Sister Amara. Nkechi sobbed in pidgin. You don wake. Oh my God, you don wake. We think say we don lost you. 3 years, sister. 3 whole years. I know, Amara whispered. I was lost. But I'm back now. What'n you remember? Amara thought about the river. The calls. The infinite versions of herself trying desperately to change the past. Everything, she said. I remember everything. Over the following weeks, as Amara relearned how to walk, how to tie her wrapper properly, how to exist in the world again, she told the doctors about her coma visions. They called it trauma-induced dissociative state and temporal disorientation. They said her brain had been trying to process the drowning while she was unconscious, creating elaborate scenarios to explain why she couldn't wake up. But Amara knew better. She'd been trapped. Trapped by love and guilt and the inability to accept loss. And Chidi, or the part of her spirit that remembered Chidi, had called her back. Had warned her. Had loved her enough to let her go. 6 months after waking up, Amara stood at Onitsha River for the first time since the accident. It was morning, bright and clear. Fishermen were already pulling their nets. No rain. No spirits. Just a river where something terrible had happened. Her phone was in her handbag, but it was silent. It had been silent at 2:13 a.m. every night since she'd woken up. No more calls from unknown numbers. No more warnings. Just the normal, painful process of grief and healing. She poured libation into the water, watching it disappear into the current. Thank you, she whispered to the river. Thank you for calling me back. Thank you for letting me live. A breeze picked up, warm and gentle. And for just a moment, she could have sworn she smelled his aftershave, the one he bought at Balagan Market. But when she turned around, there was no one there. Just her own shadow on the muddy bank, solid and singular. Amara walked back to her car and drove home to Lagos. That night, at 2:13 a.m., she woke up naturally, like she had for 3 years. But this time, she simply looked at her phone, saw the empty screen, whispered a prayer for Chidi's soul, and went back to sleep. The calls had ended. And finally, so had the loop. If this story made you feel something, if it kept you here until the very end, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now because I bring you stories like this every single week. African stories. Stories rooted in our culture, our beliefs, our experience. Stories that'll make you question reality, that'll make you feel something real. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? A phone call from someone who passed? A dream that felt too real? A moment when the spirit world touched yours? I read every single comment, and your stories inspire mine. And if you enjoyed this, smash that like button. It tells me you want more stories that matter, stories that honor our roots while exploring the unknown. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And remember, sometimes the only way forward is to finally let go of what's behind.